What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Monday, January 13th, 2025 edition of the Daily Energy Newsbeat. Stand-up. Here are today's top headlines. First up, what do oil and gas exports mean to the Russian economy? How will President Biden's new sanctions play with President Trump's negotiations? This is an interesting article that mainly covers exactly what happened with the new Biden administration sanctions that got put, which really caused oil prices to spike. So we will cover this on both ends of the article. Next up here, Nord Stream pipeline to be relaunched according to a potential German chancellor candidate. Well, we'll see if this one actually goes through. Azerbaijan halts gas deliveries to Serbia and Bulgaria. Oh, wouldn't want to be Serbia and Bulgaria this time of the year. Next up, GOP rep unveils bill. No president can ban fracking without congressional approval. And then finally, in the news segment, Constellation Energy to buy Calpine in a $16.4 billion deal. Main reason we're running this in the news segment is it's got a little bit more to do with nuclear and clean energy than it does with oil and gas finance. So we're going to let Stu talk about what this means for the business. Stu will then toss over me. I will quickly cover what happened in the oil and gas markets, and we'll spend a little bit more time talking about these Russian sanctions and why really, as we've seen prices continue to run the last few days, what exactly that means. We will cover all that and a bag of chips, folks. As always, I am Michael Tanner, joined by Stuart Turley. Where do you want to begin?
Hey, let's start with what do oil and gas exports mean to the Russian economy, and how, the second question in this article is, how will the new Biden sanctions play with President Trump's negotiations? Michael, I did not see this sweeping sanctions from the Barbara DeVille out of the Treasury Secretary. I mean, she needs a new hairdresser. Holy smokes, Batman. Mine's bad. Mine's flesh. Hers, off the charts. But let's start here with this article. This article is from a couple of Russian gentlemen, and I thought it was very interesting that they would even have some great comments in here. Let's go through what was sanctioned by the Treasury. Snurkin and Gazprom Neft ranked third and fourth in Russia for oil extraction, along with subsidiaries as well as personal sanctions against Vladimir Bogdanov and Alexander Dolkov, heads of Surov Gaz and Gazprom. Insurance companies, shipping companies, the biggest carrier of the Russian oil, 183 vessels believed to be part of the shadow fleet, 20 foreign trading companies, and dozens of officials in the energy ministry. Now, how does this affect the Russian economy? Russian export income will decline and import prices will go up. It will further weaken the ruble. Now, Michael, the shadow fleet is really unknown at how many are out there. I'm thinking it's in the 800 tankers. And right now, the U.S. sanctions less than 7% of the tankers that are around the world. So I don't know. The sanctions are going to impact in the short run. They're not going to impact the will of the Venezuelans, the Iraqians, all of the other ones to get around the OPEC quotas. And it's the insurance companies, Michael, that the shadow fleet gets. 80%, I just ran another article on this on Newsbeat, 80% of the shadow fleet, let's say it's 800 tankers, do not have insurance. And we just saw 3 of them last month sink. Who pays for that cleanup?
So
this is huge.
There's obviously a pricing component to this, which I'll talk about a little later on. But I think the real reason this was done was as theoretically a negotiating tool for the Ukrainian delegation and the incoming administration in order to make some sort of deal with Putin. The question was, is this a chip that will actually help a deal get made, or is it just irrelevant?
Why would the Biden Secretary of Treasury do this without talking to President Trump? I don't know. there is a big section, a group within the Democrat Party now saying that Trump is not going to be able to reduce the sanctions without Congress. And that's due to a bill that they ran through last year. So this looks to me like they're trying to hinder President Trump rather than help him.
It's
stupid.
It's stupid, and it makes it look more, in my opinion, adversarial. And if their goal, I mean, think from the other side, why would they do this? I mean, we saw what happened to prices. Prices briefly spiked over $78 a barrel. It could be solely for the fact of, hey, can we drive up prices and give President Trump a high cost of energy as he comes into his administration? There could be something there. I don't like to think that, because I like to think we're all on the same team, but I think there's a lot of evidence to show that we're all not on the same team. But we did see that a lot of those images coming out of President Jimmy Carter's funeral. We might all be on the same team, and they're just playing us.
I'm not going to go there, because I thought it was kind of funny that, you see President Obama and President Trump yucking it up, and then you see the whole rest of the alive presidents not happy that that's being funny. So that was quite interesting. One other thing is we need to remember the World Bank and Russia's food exports are important to the world, and this impacts that as well. So let's go to Nord Stream. Nord Stream pipeline to be relaunched. German chancellor candidate. Now that we're sitting here going, I see nothing. Schultz is now all of a sudden he's facing some other folks, and one of his competitors running for his slot is saying, we want the Nord Stream. I called it. Regimes change when you don't have cheap Russian natural gas. And I just thought this one was pretty funny.
It is funny.
Put Nord Stream back into operation. You can count on it. Well done.
Now, the real question is, will this lady win? We don't know about that. Just as a reminder, guys, Germany relied on Russian for around 55% of its natural gas supply before the original Ukraine war broke out. Much of that did go through Nord Stream 1, which the anticipation of Nord Stream 2, which runs parallel next to it, was due to come online in 2022. But former Chancellor Merkel ended up revoking that certification for Nord Stream 2 several days before that Russian military, ironically, before the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Not after, before. Very interesting there. And both lines were destroyed in an act of sabotage. You see how now it's like COVID. You couldn't say it was sabotage 2 years ago. Now you can slowly start saying sabotage, and in 3 years we'll come to find out, it was actually Ukraine that blew it up, or the CIA.
It was not alleged.
Or the CIA.
Now, and you don't have 3 people on a USS Minnow blowing that up. It's a deep water pipeline. One of them is still, of the 4 pipelines, Nord Stream 1, Nord Stream 2, one is still available for use. They got 3 of the 4 pipelines.
Well, good. They only got little, but it'll be interesting. Again, do I think this candidate will win? Probably not. But at least someone's talking about it.
Oh, yeah. And it's going to become a political issue, because Germans are tired of the energy crisis caused by green energy. Subsequently, the invasion of Russia into Ukraine exacerbated the green policies. Let's go to Azerbaijan. Speaking of gas, halts gas deliveries to Serbia and Bulgaria. Holy smokes, Batman. Gas flows from Azerbaijan to Serbia have been halted, and it's unclear when they will resume. I got information from our Azerbaijan brothers and friends that because of force majeure and problems they have as of today, they cannot count on 1.7 million cubic meters of gas is what's coming every day. That's a lot of gas, dude. That's even more than Jerry Nadler. Holy smokes.
It is. And I mean, it goes to show you energy security. I mean, that's the last thing you want as a president, to get a call saying, I was informed by Azerbaijan that because of a force majeure, we cannot count on 1.7 million cubic feet of gas that was coming every day. That's unbelievable. And now guess what? They're stuck buying from Russia. So very interesting to see what happens there. As Stu mentioned, Serbia is attempting to join the European Union, which is, as we always talked about, under pressure, trying to pull itself off of the Russian energy supply. And the interesting part is, due to these new sanctions that we talked about in the earlier article, Stu, Russia's Gazprom actually has 45 days as of Saturday to exit the ownership of the largest Serbian oil company, NIS, which is among the biggest contributors, not just to the Serbian energy mix, but the Serbian economy. They own a 50% stake, they own, NIS is majority owned by Gazprom Neft, holds a 50% stake. Russian's Gazprom, which is another subsidiary, owns 6.15%, and the Serbian government only owns about 29%. So it's going to be very interesting to see who was able to pick all that up. Serbia also receives gas via Bulgaria, which they said might be able to pick up some of the slack, but also, most of this replacement gas volumes looks like it's going to be sourced from Turkey. So at least they'll be able to figure it out.
Yeah, old Turkey's kind of laying there in the wait, trying to become the gas hub, and they want to become very important. They need the revenues. And again, we talked about this last week, the revenues for the Ukraine shutting down their transit pipe system was 5% of their GDP.
Yeah, that's basically what it looks like. So there's this gas pipeline that runs from Azerbaijan across the Caspian Sea into Serbia, and it's actually operated by BP. BP was asked to comment on that, and basically they said they detected a technical issue in its subsea condensate export line between the Shah Dazin Alf platform and the Shangri-La terminal. And basically that's a complex that consists of both a natural gas processing plant and an oil production plant. The quote is, for operational production and export operations from the SDA platform were suspended and the platform has been safely shut down. All people on the platform are safe. There's no environmental impact. All offshore facilities, including the SDA platform and pipeline, are also safe. So that's good. At least everything's good there. We don't have an environmental disaster.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm checking the USS Minnow to see if it was there.
It's en route.
It's en route.
What's next?
Hey, Michael, let's go to the next one here. GOP rep unveils bill. No president can ban fracking without congressional approval. Holy smokes. This is really a good one. You've had some great comments on this one. And in the sense Congress, I agree that no single president should be able to, with a stroke of a pen, ban fracking. In the sense Congress, the states should maintain primacy for the regulation of hydraulic fracturing for oil and gas. This is from Fruger, and I think you brought up some excellent points on this. The Biden administration has spent the last 4 years attacking American energy industry and recently attempting to shut down by banning almost all new offshore banning projects, Fluger said in a statement. It will be up to Republicans and President Trump to reestablish American energy independence. Hats off to him. I really like him. And when you sit back and take a look at this, California, Michael, in 2023, California imported 26% of their oil from Iraq, a sanctioned adversary of the United States. Why are we not trying to produce local energy rather than import from sanctioned other folks? No president should ban fracking. No state governor should have to destroy a thing. So this is very important.
Yeah, because it's not like oil produced in Texas just goes to Texas. It goes nationwide. So no governor of Texas should be allowed to ban fracking. Or it's a global market. It's a national market. So I completely agree. Love me some Congressman Fluger. He's from the great city of Midland. So he firsthand understands the nature of the relationship between fracking and oil production. So great call there. Let's move to this last one here, Stu. You actually know the CEO.
Well, I'm going to reach out to him. He is Joe Dominguez, Constellation's energy president, said by combining, this one is a great article, combining Constellation's unmatched expertise in zero emission nuclear energy with Calpine's industry best in class low carbon natural gas and geothermal generation fleets, we will be able to offer the broadest array of energy products and services in the industry. This is Constellation Energy to buy Calpine in a $16.4 billion deal. This is very important because you have a clear conglomerate now with natural gas, and the terms are very important. It is now nuclear and natural gas are very, very the cleanest energy that you can make.
Yes, no, absolutely. This is a $16.4 billion merger. You are all about these, SMRs and all the nuclear stuff. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. They got a decent amount of debt over there at Calpine. So we'll see.
Yeah. Maybe if I can get Joe to talk to him about it, we'll fire him up.
Absolutely. Well, let's go ahead and jump over quickly to oil and gas finance, guys. Before we do that, we've got to pay the bills. Thank you for checking us out here on the world's greatest website, energynewsbeat.com, the best place for all your energy and oil and gas news. Stu and the team do a tremendous job making sure that website stays up to speed. Everything you need to know to be the tip of the spear when it comes to the energy and the oil and gas business. Go ahead and hit that description below for all the links, the timestamps, links to the articles. Go ahead and subscribe to us on Substack. We are super excited to be dropping a bunch of paid-only content. So one of the best ways to support the show, if you enjoy listening to us on a daily basis, go ahead and give us a quick paid subscription over at Substack. You can also go ahead and I know it's 2025, guys, but it's never too early to start thinking about your tax situation and how to increase your cash flow and diversify your portfolio. Take advantage of these high oil prices, guys. We have a awesome project that we're finishing up a little bit of introduction to. So if you guys are interested, need to diversify your portfolio, become Billy Bob Thornton from Landman and save a little bit on your 2025 taxes, go ahead and go to investinoil.energynewsbeat.com and you can go ahead and we will get you all of the information there. But let's go ahead and just look at top line industry, Stu. Not a great day for the overall markets on Friday. S&P 500 and NASDAQ both down about 1.5 percentage points. 2 and 10-year yields were up 2.7 and 1.5% respectively. Dollar index was up about 4/10 of a percentage point. Bitcoin at $94,000, so relatively trading in a flat zone. Crude oil up 3.5 percentage points. Again, off the back of what we are seeing in the Russian oil sanctions. As Stu mentioned, 7% of U.S. or of tankers have been taken offline due to these sanctions, which equates to about 3% of oil supplies. So if you kind of do some math there, we were at about $73, $74 when these sanctions took place. 3% of oil production basically goes for about 76. So you're talking about a $3 swing for every 3%. So, I mean, that's how some of this mathematics is done when you start looking at historical numbers. And when people say, here's where prices will go based on oil supply, they can use metrics like this of historical oil coming off the market. What does that equate to overall? And then back calculate increased percentages. So we love that. Natural gas continues its feeding frenzy upward, up 7% on Friday, up 28 cents, $3.98, cracked $4 for the first time since way back in May of 2022. So a lot of this again is due to U.S. The freezing temperatures that we had. There was some disruptions in oil supplies, but a lot of that is just due to continued increases in prices. Stu, do you think these Russian oil sanctions will be on for a while? I mean, how long will this 3% oil you think be affecting?
I think the Biden administration has done an excellent job in torpedoing an end to the war. Not only did they extend the war, the Biden administration has again extended it. Right now, if President Putin did nothing, he wins the war. I've been covering this with George McMillan, and this could actually be the end of the EU as well as NATO by the Biden administration. Their second order of magnitude of effects will go far. So there is a move now in Congress to make sure that President Trump just does not sweepingly end the sanctions, even though the Biden administration did not enforce the sanctions. And the growth of Russian energy exports went from 35% of their GDP to almost 39% of their GDP because of the Biden's inability to effectively enforce the sanctions. It is just absolutely a cluster F.
No, to be honest, it really, really is. And so who knows what'll happen. It'll be interesting what happens with rig counts, because we saw rig counts shed 5 last week, which is still down 35 from a year ago, which when, we would expect to see that rig count previous year begin to converge as we started dropping rigs a little over a year and a half ago, but we're still in a negative delta. It would be interesting to see if rigs do continue to come back with some of this new price action. But again, a lot of the rig stuff is locked up in long-term contracts, so it may or may not be there. But it's really all I've got, Stu. Kind of all quiet on the Western Front from an oil and gas finance standpoint. What should people be worried about this week before we let them go?
No idea, but buckle up. We're just a few days away now from President Trump being sworn in. And Dan Bongino said, please do not go to the inauguration because there's evidently a drone attack going to happen now. And you have Mar-a-Lago locked down. You can't get within 2 miles of Mar-a-Lago now. So I don't know what's going on. Just keep your head on a swivel and get ready.
Yeah. Absolutely. So we will. You won't see us there. I promise you that.
No.
All right, guys. Well, with that, we'll let you get out of here. Starting your week with the Energy News Beat. We appreciate each and every one of you. For Stuart Turley, I'm Michael Tanner. We will see you tomorrow, folks.